Dudes and dudettes, how are you guys? This is Chazzy and welcome back to Chazzy's Top 10, the segment on this channel where I give you guys my own personal top 10 list of everything related to pop culture. And today's video is going to be one that I've already done some time ago, many years ago, but I didn't really like the way it came out the first time, the selections that I chose and the place that I recorded in my house and how I edited it, you know. So I'm going to be remaking it today but wearing a different jersey because I used to wear I wore my Chelsea jersey for that one, you know. Now I have my Brazil national team jersey, number 10, it says Ronaldinho on it, you know, but it's very old. Look how big it is on me, man. This is a very old shirt. I used to wear this when I was a freaking teenager, you know. But anyway, so today, because the World Cup is right around the corner, the FIFA World Cup in Qatar, I figured what better time to redo this video talking about who I consider to be the top 10 best soccer players in history, you know. And this is not a traditional top 10 list in the sense where I count back or I count down from the 10 to the first. I actually go backwards. I start with the best one and work my way down to the least best, if that makes sense, you know. It's going to be a mixture of that and personal opinions, influence on the sport, when they played, you know. A small disclaimer though, I'm only going to be covering players who have already retired, you know, so they are no longer active, you know. It's going to make it a lot easier. So although I'm a very big fan of Cristiano Ronaldo, Lionel Messi, Zlatan Ibrahimovic, among others, they are not going to make this list. Only players who are currently retired are going to make it here. So, you know, just bear with me here, all right? And it's going to be nice, man. It's going to be really cool. Now, I'm going to start off the list by already naming the best one, you know, so it's going to already begin. You guys are going to know how it's going to work once the video goes on, okay? It's going to start from the best and slowly go down, you know. It's going to make sense when you watch it to the end, which I hope you do. So let's begin with the best player of all, who is literally called the greatest by FIFA, Pele.
Riverino. Sul cross di Riverino, colpo di testa di Pelé. E il Brasile in vantaggio. Ha segnato Pelé al 18° minuto. Sul cross di Riverino, che adesso rivedremo.
Obviously, Pele is not really his name. It's a nickname. He was actually born Edson Arantes do Nascimento, and he actually had a very stellar career because he did things that no other player has accomplished since, you know. He played from 1956 to 1977. Throughout his entire career, he played mainly for Santos here in Brazil, but he also had a brief stint in New York Cosmos, you know, in the US to finish off his career, bring soccer over there. And he has a lot of different records in the sport, but mainly Pele played in an era where soccer was very different. You know, sports in general were different, and yet he was very, very quick and had very agile reflexes and a lot of really crazy dribbling, you know. He was a very good playmaker. He was essentially a striker, you know. He would always play predominantly in the front, but he could also, you know, come back a little bit deeper and be a playmaker, play in midfield, you know. So he was kind of like a very dexterous player. He could shoot with both feet, you know. And the thing is that Pele with Santos had a lot of many career exploits, like for example 6 Campeonato Brasileiros that he won, which is the Brazil national championship, you know, 5 of which were consecutive, and also he won 10 Campeonato Paulistas, you know, which is the São Paulo regional soccer championship here, you know, so many were consecutive as well. He also won 2 Copa Libertadores Cups, you know, which are very unprecedented in Santos's history. But his main place of, you know, skill where he shined the most was in Brazil, the national team. Pele began to play soccer for Santos when he was 15, you know, and then the national team when he was 16. He went to his first World Cup, you know, in 1958 when he was 17. He won that World Cup and later would go on to win in 62 and then later in 1970. The only player who has ever won 3 FIFA World Cups in his career, you know. With Brazil, he really truly was a monster because he played a total of 92 games for them, and across that, pretty much averaging nearly a goal per game. He had 77 goals in total for them, you know. So, and he was a pioneer as well with the beautiful game style of playing, you know, that many players adapted since. Pele had a lot of very good vision, a lot of amazing ball control, his technique, you know, because what he did back at the time nobody else did. His short dribbles reminding of us of futsal, you know, and his just amazing decisiveness in front of goal, the way he would do a lot of tricks and feints, you know, a lot of really amazing flaring tricks that nobody ever came close to at the time, you know. And he actually has the Guinness World Record for the most amount of goals goals because throughout his career, he played a total of 1,363 games, whether it's official or unofficial, where he scored a world record 1,279 goals in total for club and country, which is recognized in the Guinness World Records as the most goals by any player, Pelé was on another level, man. In the year 2000, he was given the World Player of the Century Award, the only player to have won that, and then he was also given the FIFA Player of the Century Award, which he shares with Maradona, only the two players ever to have won that, Pelé truly was amazing. If he played today, maybe he'd have a little bit of a hard time, but at the time, man, he did things that no other player ever could imagine, It was really hard to guard him, He did not play a very protagonistic role in the World Cup in '62 because he was hurt. They were injuring him and fouling him like crazy, but still, Pelé is Pelé. Nobody will ever even come close. Now, Pelé was the king of football, that's what they call him, and he really truly is the king of this sport. And if that's so, then this next player here is the prince of football, If Pelé invented dribbling, this next guy completely perfected it, A fellow Brazilian countryman who shared World Cup success with Pelé, the one and only Garrincha.
And now England attack. And the ball has gone to Didi. Back to Garrincha. What's he going to do? He shoots. It's there. Spring it is beaten. 3-1 to Brazil. And so the Brazilian side go to the semi-finals and England go home.
He was actually born Manuel Francisco dos Santos. Garrincha is obviously a nickname. It translates to Little Bird. We here in Brazil, we also call him Mané Garrincha, which is to make it a little bit more informal. We also call him A Alegria do Povo, which means the people's joy. And also O Anjo de Pernas Tortas, which is the angel with bent legs because he was a little bow-legged. But he is considered to be the greatest dribbler ever because the things that he did back in the day, man, were just unprecedented. He actually played from 1951 to 1973 for 6 different Brazilian clubs, most notably Botafogo, where he played for about a decade or so, where he stunned the world with his amazing dribbling, his vision and passing, because he was one of the pioneers of feinting, and also crossing the ball over in a way that it would take like a little curve, He was very good from set pieces, an amazing free kick specialist, The thing with Garrincha is that he also played with Pelé in 2 different World Cups in '58 and '62. Pelé unfortunately was brutally fouled and hurt and didn't play much of '62, and that's when Garrincha took over the reins and he lifted that trophy for us, because he was actually the first player on that occasion to win the Golden Ball trophy for the best player of the tournament in the World Cup, and also the first to win the Golden Boot trophy for being the lead goal scorer on that occasion there, It was a very successful campaign. So he did that by himself without Pelé. But when Pelé and Garrincha were playing together on the field, Brazil never lost a game. That is factual. You can look it up if you don't believe me, man. Freaking crazy. And the thing with Garrincha is that he would do these crazy dribbles where sometimes he would, for example, leave the ball behind, He would just like dribble a little bit, leave the ball there, and run a few feet so the defender would go after him and forget about the ball. It was freaking hilarious to see. Then he would go back and just pass it, or kick or something, It's freaking crazy, man. He was bow-legged, but it's freaking crazy. He was really truly the pioneer of dribbles, very fast reflexes and stuff, and he was very tactical too, had very good vision with his law passes and crosses, freaking crazy. Unfortunately, though, we're going to have to leave Brazil temporarily now to go over to what is considered to be the heated rivals of this country here. I am not a big fan of this player personally, but you cannot deny the impact that he has had on the sport. Number 3 on this list is Diego Maradona.
Ahí lo tiene Maradona, lo marcan 2, pisa la pelota Maradona, arranca por la derecha el genio del fútbol mundial, y es el tercero a tocar para Borruchaga, siempre Maradona, genio,
Also known as El Pibe de Oro, which translates to the Golden Boy, Diego Maradona had a very long and controversial career, playing from 1976 to 1997 for a total of 7 different clubs, notably Boca Juniors in Argentina, Barcelona in Spain, and Napoli in Italy. When he moved to Barcelona the first time, he broke the world record transfer fee at the time, and then he broke it again when he went to Napoli. We're talking millions of euros, which at the time was unprecedented for a player, and he actually despite being a very good player in clubs and scoring many goals, he actually found a lot of success in Argentina, which is really saying a lot because he played mainly throughout the 1980s. You know, that was kind of like the bulk of his career, his peak, and it was a very brutal time back then. And even so, he went to 4 different World Cups with Argentina and won in 1986 in Mexico, you know, where he scored one of the most controversial and one of the best goals in history, you know, where he scored a goal with the hand despite being very short. He leapt over the keeper. He later called it the hand of God. The goal was allowed. And then in the same match, you know, he grabbed the ball from the midfield and dribbled past a bunch of players. We're talking like a 60-yard run through a bunch of other players, you know, then finessed the ball past the keeper, and that's when he lifted the trophy. That is the goal that I actually showed that you guys just saw, you know, freaking crazy. It was called the goal of the century, man. And he was also given on that occasion the golden ball for best player, you know. He was also the winner of the FIFA Player of the Century award alongside Pele, you know. The thing with Maradona is that he was very, very good, you know, at playing ball, but he was also very short, you know, which gave him a lower center of gravity, so he could maneuver past players very easily and quickly, just like Messi today. A lot of amazing vision, good passing, ball control, dribbling, you know, combined with his small stature, made him pretty much impossible. Unfortunately, he was kind of a douche, you know. He was banned from the sport twice in the 90s for drug abuse, you know, a lot of doping charges, you know, so he was also a very big fan of cocaine, unfortunately. But that's Maradona for you. But everything that he did, all the controversies outside of the field were not enough to take away from his legacy on it, you know. An amazing player who scored a lot of really long shot goals as well. He had a really, really good, powerful long shot. So I do believe he is the player that most recently passed away in 2020 from cardiac arrest, but hey, it happens. Diego Maradona is going to be immortalized on this channel here, taking the number 3 spot. Now hey, Diego Maradona was a natural leader in Argentina, and his presence alone on the field inspired the team to great heights, you know. But try to imagine if Maradona wasn't such a douche outside of the field, you know. What if he was a very strong leader who played soccer much more seriously and really embraced the philosophy of it? If that happened, he would become the next player on this list, the Flying Dutchman himself, Johan Cruyff.
Stuurt daar Krol op links weg, dan komt de voorzet en is Cruyff is scoort, het is goal! 2-0! Wat een juweel van een doelpunt! Van Rensenbrink naar Krol, van Krol voor, precies op maat en Cruyff die schitterend scoort. En het is 2-0 in de 20e.
Johan Cruyff had a very, very, very successful career at club level, playing for 20 years from 1964 to 1984 across 7 different clubs, the most famous of which was Ajax, where he began his career, then came back later years later. The thing with Johan is that this guy here, man, this guy was incredible because he played soccer embracing this philosophy of total football, which essentially said that a midfielder could play in any position on the field, you know. You could pretty much glide through the wings and back on the defense and offense, play as an attacking striker, you know. He pretty much took on the role of every single player, and he was really well-rounded. He actually created this dynasty with the Dutch national team, you know, the Netherlands or Holland, where it was actually what inspired many modern teams like Barcelona to do their tiki-taka style, where they do a lot of quick passes, you know, a lot of tactical readouts, you know, and a lot of vision and technique, you know, with their passing. This is what inspired them. I do believe they were called the Dutch carousel or something of the sort, you know, and unfortunately, he never really found too much success with the national team because they were actually, the Dutch were runner-up in 1974 in the World Cup to West Germany, you know. They really deserved to win that World Cup. If you watch footage of them playing, man, they made it look easy. They really made it look easy. And Johan actually went on to win 8 Eredivisie titles with Ajax, you know, in his first stint there, which also included 3 European Cups. You know, I don't believe they were consecutive, but he did win 3 at one point, and also 1 Intercontinental Cup. As an individual player, he really represented the game because he won 3 FIFA Ballon d'Ors, you know. Yes, it did exist back then in 1971, 73, and then 74, you know. And he played soccer with a very elegant grace, you know, because he also invented and perfected this dribble called the Cruyff turn, you know, which is very similar to what Cristiano Ronaldo does today with the Ronaldo chop, you know, but it was kind of like a precursor to that, you know, where he would dribble through a defender and then cut the ball back and then keep going, you know. A lot of great crosses, you know. He had such excellent vision vision, and his ball control was second to none back when he was playing, man, you know. Then he also made the World Team of the Century list, you know, by FIFA in 1998, and then he also made in 2002 the FIFA Cup Dream Team, you know, and he would also go on to become a very successful manager, you know. I love this guy, man, I really do. Such an underrated player. Just as underrated as the next one, you know, who I don't really know. He was born in Argentina, but he played for Colombia and Spain, you know, the national teams, you know. I really cannot get a hand on Alfredo Di Stefano.
Vidal. Et Lamia qui est sorti de ses buts. Lamia qui est sorti de ses buts d'une façon peut-être inconsidérée et d'une tête.
There is a possibility that I mispronounced his name. I think it's actually Alfredo Di Stefano or something of the sort, you know. Maybe I'll just call him by his nickname, which is La Salia Rubia. How do I pronounce that? Saita Rubia, which means blonde arrow. Now, this guy here is the reason that Real Madrid in Spain is one of the biggest clubs in the world, you know. He is actually the oldest player on this list, you know, because he played from 1945 to 1966 for a total of 5 different clubs. But his stint at Real Madrid is what really capitalized, you know, on his skills because, dude, this guy in Real Madrid is crazy. If you think Cristiano Ronaldo did a lot for Real Madrid, bro, back in the day, this guy is the reason that Real Madrid became Los Blancos, the famous team back in the 50s and 60s, you know, because throughout his time there, he played 282 league games, you know, just in La Liga alone, where he scored 216 league goals, you know, which was a record at the time. You know, it would take decades for, you know, the likes of Cristiano Ronaldo and Benzema and Gareth Bale to come and break those records, you know. It would take a very long time. Just to give you an idea, he won 8 freaking La Liga titles with Real Madrid, bro. You know, 8 titles he won. I mean, holy freaking crap. It's not easy to win, you know. And he played with such grace back then, you know, his passing, his goal scoring, you know, everything just flowed very seamlessly. And he is one of 3 players to this day to play a part in all 5 of their European Cup wins, you know, scoring a goal in each of the finals, you know, playing very fine soccer. And he also played internationally, like I said, for Spain, Argentina, and Colombia. Not even sure how that's possible, but hey, we're talking about the 50s and 60s, so I don't even know how the hell that worked, you know. And he is the highest goal scorer in El Clasico alongside Cristiano Ronaldo. So, bro, freaking, when it comes to just graceful playing, you know, no one even comes close to this guy. He died when he was 88, man. Freaking crazy. And next up, we have a player who honestly just, it's one of the most tragic cases of, you know, what could have been. You know, if he had just taken the sport a little bit more seriously and not having turned to alcohol, maybe, just maybe, we would have seen much more of George Best.
Good jump then by Dave Sadler. Ferran through for Best. Here he goes again. Georgie Best. What a beautiful bit of running by this man. Best free in the middle. Willie Morgan coming over to help Kidd now. And a chance for Best. Here's the hat trick. There it is eventually. Well. Georgie Best makes it a hat trick.
Georgie is easily the best Irish player ever to have put on the Northern Ireland shirt and the best player never to have played in a FIFA World Cup, because despite having a lot of individual skill and success as a player, you know, he himself suffered from a lot of lack of fitness, especially in his later years, you know, and a low team performance in general around him. The players weren't as skilled as he was, you know, which made it so he never took Northern Ireland, you know, to any lot of success. But he was capped 37 times, you know, 37 times he was captain of the national team, and he played from 1963 to 1984 for a grand total of a whopping 18 freaking clubs, you know, all over the damn place, you know, in Europe. But most notably, his 11 years at Manchester United are what made him stand out, you know, because over there he played 470 freaking games, holy crap, dude, where he would also go on to score 169 goals, and he was actually the top goal scorer for them for 5 consecutive seasons, you know. And the thing is that he had a very unique playing style at the time, you know, where he combined pace and skill, balance and feints, you know, and also two-footedness. So he was able to score with both feet and get past defenders very easily, you know, because back in the day, defenders weren't really the best, but still, it doesn't take away from his own goal-scoring prowess, you know. George Best was insane, man, and unfortunately, you know, because he had a very extravagant playboy lifestyle, you know, he actually started to, you know, deal with personal problems outside of the sport, most notably alcoholism, which does affect the guy here and there. So unfortunately, he started to decline a lot. You know, he actually died after complications from drugs that he took after a liver transplant, you know, that was in 2005. But the world got to see a lot of George Best in his prime, you know, especially in United. This guy played for way too many damn tournaments, way too many teams, man. It's freaking crazy. But the greatest player ever to put on the green shirt of Northern Ireland, that's for sure, you know. I'm a very big fan of George Best, but unfortunately, just like Ronaldinho, he just maybe could have taken it just a little bit more seriously, you know. Next, we have another player who, oh, by the way, George was sort of like a winger and like sort of a, his position was kind of varied, but he mostly played as a winger and also an attacking midfielder, you know. But the next player here is a full-on striker who was very aggressive in his prime. Quite possibly the only player ever to have played well for Portugal aside from Cristiano Ronaldo, the great and late Eusebio.
Centre forward Torres, and it is as Torres, and another one, Eusebio. Simões bending one for Torres. Eusebio. Oh my word! Have you ever seen anything like that?
Also known as the Black Panther or the Black Pearl, you know, which reminds me of Pirates of the Caribbean. Eusebio had a very illustrious playing career from 1957 to 1980, so if my math is correct, that's like what, 33 years, right? Carry the one, 23, 20, I don't know, man, I'm not good at math, I'm not here to do math. He played for a total of 10 different clubs. The last one was indoor though, so kind of like futsal, not really sure it counts as soccer, but still, it was there, you know. And throughout his time, in total, he played 745 games for a club and country across his entire career, where he scored 733 goals, which is damn near a goal per game, man, you know. This guy was an amazing goal getter because he had a very rare combination of speed, technique, athleticism, and a very ferociously strong right foot shot, you know. So with his right foot, man, that ball was going in Roberto Carlos style. No keeper could stop him, you know. And he actually placed third in the 1966 FIFA World Cup that England won, you know. But he did manage to become the top scorer with 9 goals on that occasion. And he himself, as a player outside of that, won the Ballon d'Or in 1965, you know, when he was playing for Benfica. He is unsurprisingly Benfica's greatest player ever and also their top scorer with 473 goals. And with Benfica throughout his playing career there, this guy won a grand whopping 11 Primeira Liga titles, you know, which is freaking crazy, and also the European Cup as well. And he was actually the first player ever to win the European Golden Boot, you know. That was in 1968, and then he won again in 73, you know. So Eusebio was insane, man. You know, it was really hard for you to stop this guy in his heyday. Cristiano Ronaldo was definitely inspired a lot by him, but probably surpassed him a bit in the here and there, you know. But man, still, Eusebio! Oh, hey, they call him the king, but that's not him. It's actually Pele. And now we have the first and only French player on this list here, and one of the best attacking midfielders I have ever seen in my entire life. The great, the very, very, very bald Zinedine Zidane.
As a noise picks up in this crowd, and great defensive play by Zinedine Zidane. Well taught for Zidane. He's going to break in. Zidane can finish it off for France. Holding, shooting. Oh, Zidane! He's got to go!
Good old Zizou played from 1989 until 2006 for a total of 4 different clubs, most notably Ajax and Juventus and Real Madrid in Spain, you know. Juventus in Italy, Real Madrid in Spain, sorry. So the thing is that he had pretty much the same amount of skills that anybody else had, you know, all the vision, passing, ball control, this and that. However, Zizou did it with elegance, you know, and poise. He had a very fancy way of playing soccer, you know. When he went to Real Madrid and formed the Galacticos era with Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, David Beckham and others, you know, Raul, Figo, all of those players there, you know, he really showed this, you know. He scored so many amazing goals for Real Madrid. There was one that I think was in the UEFA Champions League, I think in 02, where the ball came from across and he scored it, you know, from without it even touching the ground. And that was an amazing goal, considered to be one of the best in the competition, you know. And the thing is that At a club level, he was actually very successful, you know. He did win quite a few. I'm going to look up just a few of his honors here for you guys because I do believe he deserves a mention there. Zidane has won, wow, not a lot of stuff, huh? Forget about the honors and let's talk about his career national team, you know. With France, he was very successful. He won the World Cup in 1998 on top of Brazil, you know. Ronaldo made it to the final, suffered a seizure, that sucked. I'm going to talk about it later, but he did lift, you know, the trophy for France there, you know. And on that occasion, he actually won the FIFA World Player of the Year award and also the Ballon d'Or, you know, in 98. And then he would also win the World Player of the Year award again in 2000, 2003, you know. So, yeah, man. This guy was the world's greatest 3 freaking times, just to give you an idea of how good he was, you know. And when he won the World Cup in 98, he did score the 2 goals in the final, you know, and when Brazil lost 3-0. Unfortunately, his career ended prematurely in 2006 in the World Cup where he headbutted the Italian guy who talked trash about his sister, you know. He retired shortly after that. It didn't tarnish his legacy at all, but not the best way for you to retire from a sport, huh? And also, many years later, he would become the coach of Real Madrid, and he would become the first coach ever to win 3 UEFA Champions League in a row, which is freaking insane, and also 2 Super Cups, you know, in the same run there in the season, and also parallelly 2 Club World Cups as well, you know. And in the same season, in the same stint there, he also won La Liga and the Supercopa de la España. So Zidane was freaking crazy, man. Nobody's ever gonna forget his bald head. This guy was freaking awesome. And he was very good friends with another player who was also bald for a very long time, the one and only, one of my favorite players ever. Give it up for Brazil's very own Ronaldo.
Pelean esa pelota Popescu y Chiva. Ronaldo. Perseguido, agarrado por Chiva. Se va Ronaldo. Atención que ahí sí que es peligroso el brasileño. Ronaldo. Ronaldo, gol. ¡Qué golazo acaba de hacer Ronaldo!
Yo recuerdo...
Gol del Barça al tercero, Ronaldo.
This right here, this really separates the men from the boys. The absolute greatest striker of all time, in my opinion, you know, because Pelé was honestly the greatest player ever, but the best player ever to me was Ronaldo. He's more of my generation, you know, and he was a multifunctional striker who brought a different dimension to that position, you know, and inspired countless players that came after him. Ronaldo had a very good playing career. He actually played from 1993 to 2011 for a total of 7 different clubs, you know, including Barcelona and Inter Milan, you know, where he actually had the peak of his career. Ronaldo in 96 in Barcelona was unstoppable. As you guys saw in the goal that I showed you, you know, getting past all those players, he was just freaking amazing because he combined so many different attributes, you know, a lot of very lightning fast speed and quick reflexes and these crazy short distance dribbles, you know, and he also was a master of the step over, you know, different feints and doing these flicks and stuff, you know. He really brought a new dimension to the game and made us want to watch soccer, and he would pretty much break goal scoring record after goal scoring record every year, you know. Every year he would score hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of goals. I'm exaggerating, but you get the idea, you know. By the time he was 23, he had already scored 200 goals for club and country, bro. That's freaking crazy. And when he was 21, he won the FIFA Ballon d'Or for the for the best player in the world, you know. And he to this day is the youngest recipient of that award. He also won multiple of those, you know. He was actually elected the world's best player, I believe, 3 times. He won the Ballon d'Or in 97, you know, and the World Player of the Year in the 96. I don't know. These prizes get confusing. It used to be 2 different prizes back then. But I'm pretty sure he was the world's best player 3 times like Zidane. So, that's a forget about Ronaldo. And for Brazil, you know, in international level, he is actually the 3rd highest scorer for Brazil, you know, because in 98 games, you know, ever since he began playing for them, he scored 62 goals, which puts him 3rd all time behind Neymar and Pelé, you know. He won 2 FIFA World Cups, the first being in 94, despite not actually having played, but he was still part of the squad, so he won. And then after that disastrous 98 final where he was playing well but suffered a seizure, he came back in 2002 after suffering a very serious injury 2 years prior, and he lifted our 5th World Cup trophy, you know, being one of the best players in the tournament, you know, and scoring goals, even 2 in the final against Germany. Ronaldo, man. Everybody loves Ronaldo, you know, his freaking celebrations like this and then the little finger here, you know. Ronaldo was honestly the greatest number 9 that the world has ever seen, man. Holy freaking crap. Give it up for O Fenômeno, as we call him here in Brazil, the phenomenon. And now last but certainly not least, believe me, not at all in the least, you know, the player who many consider to be the best of his generation, and I agree with this 100%, the one who really truly helped every other soccer player in the world embrace their inner magician, Ronaldinho.
Venga Ronaldinho, se marcha Ronaldinho, continúa Ronaldinho, Ronaldinho.
Here in Brazil, we called him for a very long time Ronaldinho Gaúcho, you know, because he was actually born in, I do believe it was Porto Alegre. Where the hell was this guy born, man? Yes, Porto Alegre, you know, so he is Gaúcho, as we call him here, because when he began playing, you know, Ronaldo was called Ronaldinho, so, you know, that's kind of what the mixture was there. But this Ronaldinho here played from 1998 until 2015 for a total of 15 different clubs. And if you know soccer, you know that the best part of his career was with Barcelona, where he signed in 2003, you know. Already, man, in the second season, he won the freaking FIFA World Player of the Year award and also the La Liga title. Third season, considered to be the best of his career. He not only won another La Liga, which gave, he not only won another La Liga, but also the UEFA Champions League, you know, which gave him his first career double. And this UEFA Champions League here was Barcelona's first in 14 freaking years up until that point, you know. And then he also won, you know, in the FIFA Ballon d'Or in 05, and then the World Player of the Year again, you know. So essentially, he was elected the world's best player twice, you know. He was on fire, man. Ronaldinho was on fire, dude, in the 05-06, 04-05 season, you know. He also scored 2 amazing solo goals in the Clásico of that year, which made him the second player ever after Diego Maradona to receive a standing ovation from the Real Madrid fans at the Santiago Bernabéu. Bro, imagine a rival player being so good that the other supporters get up and applaud him, you know. I don't even think I have to say much about Ronaldinho. You know about his technical skills, you know, his creativity, his dribbling skills, his amazing tricks and feints, you know, his step overs and the way he would get through players like they weren't even there. Pretty much inspiring Messi, who did play with him some years later, you know. Incredible accuracy from free kicks, penalties, you know. There's his free kicks from that he would take from kicking the ball below the barrier, you know, the players who would jump and he would kick it under, you know, and his no-look passes, you know. It's almost like he had eyes on the back of his head, man. 360 vision. He knew where you were gonna be and he put the ball there. And his skill comes from his early days playing futsal in Brazil, you know, so that's why he had so many quick reflexes, you know, and he really truly did embody the magic of soccer and made a lot of us fall in love with it, myself included, you know. It's just a shame that he was just so, you know, Ronaldinho played really well in clubs in Brazil too. In Brazil, he won the freaking the Copa America in '99, you know, and also the World Cup in 2002 with that squad there. He went in 2006, but didn't win. But before that, he won the Confederations Cup in 05, you know. He played really well for Brazil, but the thing is that the two Ronaldos share some similarities. Ronaldo was plagued by injuries and Ronaldinho was plagued by too much fun. Yeah, you know, he was, you know, like Ronaldo had injuries, Ronaldinho had fun. You know, it's too much of that. So unfortunately, he began to party too much because he had achieved so much in the sport, so he wasn't taking it seriously anymore, which gives us, ever since George Best, one of, if not the most tragic case of what if ever, you know? What if Ronaldinho had taken it a little bit more seriously, you know? It's because his dad died when he was young, so he learned to embrace life, you know? But still, man, God, if Ronaldinho was at his peak just a few more years, man, you know, maybe he would have destroyed at Milan or another big European club, you know? The only player to have won multiple titles, you know, the Champions League, the World Cup, the Liga, a bunch of different titles that a lot of other players on this list haven't won, you know? And that is going to wrap this one up here. I'm going to get going, guys, because I've been recording for over half an hour already, you know? I'm sorry if the video feels like it got short. Compared to the original, it probably was, but just a fun fact for you guys, this is my 5th time trying to record this goddamn video across days, man. There's always a few different factors going wrong, but I'm gonna end it here. I don't care how long it gets or how short it is. I hope you guys like it. If you happen to agree with my I'm sorry about that. The camera turned off because the freaking battery is low, you know, and I had to open my window here so I can get a little bit of cool wind in here, a nice little breeze. Anyway, so let's wrap it up. If you guys happen to enjoy this video, if you want to give me more suggestions, if you agree with my list or disagree, just want to talk about players in general, let me know in the comments below. And also, if you happen to like this video, please go ahead and give it a like and also subscribe to my channel because I release videos every single freaking day, or at least I'm trying to. And also hit the notification bell too so you can know exactly what time those videos come out. I gotta rush through this because my damn battery is low and I'm exhausted, man. Holy freaking crap. Cannot take trying to record this video anymore. Okay, so that's it, guys. This is Chazzy signing out for now, and as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Please watch this video and give it a like because it has been taking so much work, man. 5th freaking attempt trying to record this one video across days. I can't take it anymore. Roll the outro screen. Go.